It's half time.
Welcome to Halftime Oranges, episode 8. Can you believe we've been on for 8 weeks now?
Really? 8
Yeah.
weeks they've kept us on for this long.
And our downloads are now in the 20s and 30s.
Wow.
How good's that?
20s and 30,000.
It's only a number, apparently.
Allegedly.
Only a
It's
number.
more than what we had before.
Exactly right. So, how has your week been?
Big.
Big? Again?
It's big.
Another
been a
big week?
Another big week. Another big weekend. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it started on Friday where you're at a sportsman's lunch.
I did. I went to a sportsman's lunch for the great Moorebank Rams over at Sporties and had lunch there with the great Willie Mason.
Big Mace?
Big Mace with the white veneers.
Yes.
Yeah. And Andrew Joey Johns.
There you go.
And it was a good day. They had another comedian on, but he wasn't fucking real exciting. But
No.
and they had Anthony Maroon from Triple M.
You're a fan of his.
I'm fucking not a fan
You're
of
a
his.
huge fan.
I can't fucking
Hey?
stand him. I can't stand him. Talk about in the right place at the right time or something, that bloke. But yeah, he was the MC, but yeah.
Yeah. Did you drop my name in that I could possibly...
I'm not sure, mate. But what about I'm sitting there, so Solid, our mate, I was going with, and his two boys. So I got there before them. So I'm sitting, I just went and got a Coke, just sat at the table. Anyway, I'm at the table closest to this function room, and fuck me, the first bloke, I'm sitting down, the first bloke walks in, Anthony Maroon, and he comes up. So, oh, g'day, mate. Oh, g'day, mate. Yeah, how you going? Have I met you before? I said, no, mate, we haven't met you. Like
He might be a listener.
Well, he could be. He claimed me.
There you go.
And I thought, oh, fuck, here we go.
Because you're a huge fan.
Because I'm a massive fan of his.
Yes.
So, yeah, he claimed me, and then, just spoke for a little while, and then pointed him in the right direction of where he had to collect his cheque from. And,
Yeah.
But that was a good day. It was Joey told a couple of stories. A couple of them I'd already heard before. Big Mace was always good to talk to. But, yeah, food was good. And then I had to fight through the fucking traffic to get to Congress Jubilee Oval for a 6 o'clock game.
Yeah.
To watch the mighty Red V take on the Penrith Panthers, get fucking dudded by the referee.
There you go. And then, that's good. That's good. So, our podcast, what it's about, we're two dribblers who are Tragic Dragons fans. Both should have been immortals. We're not too sure what for as yet. Maybe
Absolutely.
for this podcast.
Maybe.
So,
Is there awards is there like BAFTAs for the podcast?
yeah, the podcast awards.
Podcast award?
I've already started cutting up our best bits.
Okay.
Like it goes probably for, 8 episodes in? It goes for
10
about,
seconds?
It goes for about 8 hours. Put some poor sucker to sleep. So, but no, we do reviews, previews, tips. Our music segment, Herbie's Hips. There's still time to join our Halftime Oranges tipping competition. You're only 2 weeks behind if you do. I just had a quick look. The leader who used his joker last week, he's
Yes.
now on about 15, I think, is Methodical Flamethrower. I've never heard of him, but good luck to him. And Paul McFaceman, 23, only got 2 last week.
2, poor
2.
bastard.
Yeah, so he's seeing the whole field. So
Yeah. What about so the guy that got played his joker? So how many did he get? 7.
he missed. He got 6. He, missed
He
out
got
on
6,
2.
so he got
Parramatta
12.
and Cowboys or something like that.
12. So how far in front is he now?
Without having a look,
Oh,
just hang on
I'm
a
not
second.
putting you under pressure.
You
but
are. Let's let me go
If
to
he's
the
on
video.
15, I got 7 last week. The week before I played my joker, I'm on. So he's probably 2 in front of everyone, pretty much.
You're on 10. No, you're on 13 and he's
Yeah.
on 15. So
Yeah.
he got 12 with
Yeah,
his
yeah.
bonus.
Okay.
15
Yeah.
and 13. So,
So we both played our jokers, and he's 2 in front.
yeah.
I'll get him.
Yeah. So, but you can follow us on Facebook, download the podcast on all your favourite podcast players. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Those numbers are fairly important because they boost our ego.
And our numbers. Mate, what you're wearing this week for those
What am
that
I
are watching
wearing?
for those that are watching us on YouTube.
You've caught me on the hop. I actually forgot to bring another jumper in, so
Well, I did catch on the hop because we are doing it a day earlier than what we normally do.
I'm recording, but it will come out still on the Thursday, so you can keep your calendars up to date. But I'm wearing the English Rugby League again, 1995 World Cup jumper.
The John Smiths.
John Smith's on the front, the Puma brand.
And I'm wearing the Red V again, even though we've had a loss last week. The Dragons got beaten by Penrith. We were absolutely dudded, but we'll get onto that again. That's for further in the.
We're not going to be refereeing bashing, are we?
Fucking oath we are.
Really?
Yeah,
That's a bit harsh.
absolutely we are.
That's a bit harsh.
I'm tired of the referees' results like they're the ones determining who wins and loses,
There you go.
not the players.
You've gone the red V again.
Gone the red V again.
And it did help the girls though. They had the biggest win.
They had a win. They're on top of the table, the girls. So it's good to see.
They had the biggest win in the WNRL
40
history.
to 4.
Yes.
Great result. So I'm wearing the mighty red V again today.
Excellent. So a little bit of NRL news. We might touch on these a bit more when we look at each game.
Absolutely.
Parramatta has missed out on Jermaine Asako, with the former Broncos star signing with the Gold Coast Titans on Tuesday, effective immediately.
Yeah, so I read this, and obviously he's signed with the Dolphins for 2023. He's one of their star recruits that they've signed, but he's gone from, it's round 3, or we haven't even had round 3 yet. So he plays in round 1 for the Broncos, starting fullback, and 2 weeks later it's off to the Titans. Now, when we go through this Titans team later on further, I'll have a look at it, and I've made some notes there and highlighted some players, but I'm not sure where he's going to play.
Well, especially too, they've got Jaden Campbell at fullback, who is an out-and-out superstar, so he's only going to get better as well. He's only about 4 or 5 games in himself.
Yeah, he's their future.
Yeah. Does he play in the centres? I know he's a good goal kicker.
Well, the 2 wingers I've highlighted there is Greg, what's his, Merzay or Merzhay?
Merton?
No, where are we? Let me have a look. Let me go to my notes. Just hold for a second. When do the Titans play?
Philip Semi and Greg Marzu.
Yeah, so, and they've both been kicking ass.
And Brian Kelly and Patrick Herbert in the centres.
So I'm not sure where he fits in there. What were the idea behind, whether the Titans want to get a bit more depth or not, I'm not sure, but I can't see him pushing any of those blokes out at the moment.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Harry Grant, even though he's been named, he'll miss round 3 with testing positive for COVID on Tuesday.
And I'll give you a little bit more of an update. Tyron Wishart,
yes,
who's going to be his replacement, is a close contact to Harry Grant, so he's also out of the game.
I believe they live together.
They do live together.
Cooper Johns and
all
Harry.
3 of them live together. So Tyron Wishart's, Harry Grant's replacement, Tyron Wishart, is also out of the game.
Nick Meaney may have to jump in at hooker.
No, what's that other kid that was on the bench last week we mentioned? But I'm not sure. They're going for their 4th string hooker now because Cheese is out, Harry Grant's out, Tyron Wishart's out. So, I'm not sure what the GO is there, but yep, they're both tested positive.
Andrew McCulloch from the Dragons, he's injured. Round 5, he'll be back with a crook elbow. He come off early.
Yeah, he's going to be a big loss for Saints. They Moses Mbai has been named this week, and he went in and played hooker after McCulloch come off. But he'll be a loss for Saints there because he's very good around the middle, very good service, and great defensive player. So that's I think Saints will miss him.
And line speed as well. He sort of takes up him and Jade.
He's the leader. He's the leader in defence.
Brian To'o. This one will test the Panthers' depth for sure. Brian To'o around 9 with a knee injury.
Yeah, absolutely, Will. And I've taken him straight out of my Supercoach team for this week as well. But yeah, he'll take the sting out of them. And is it Taylor May?
Taylor May
comes into the side there on the wing for Penrith. So see how he goes. This is going to test. As you would have thought, To'o was going to be a walk-up start for the State of Origin.
Well, I was just about to mention that it could have an impact on State of Origin as well.
You think him and the Fox will be the first 2 wingers that we're going to pick?
Yeah, so they'll have to look elsewhere for that.
Look elsewhere, we'll see how he's going to go, see if he gets back in time.
And Josh Hodgson from the Canberra Raiders, we mentioned last week that he was only going to miss 1 or 2 weeks. It's actually the season now.
Yeah, he's gone for the season.
And he's not played his last game for the Raiders. So
he becomes a Tiger next year. Parramatta Eel next year.
The Parramatta Eels.
I feel sorry for Ricky, mate, here because they just can't take a trick.
Yeah.
The 2 of their spine, 2 of their main players. He's been a great servant for Canberra.
It's interesting, though, whether it's something to do with their training down there because Jared Croker's got a crook knee. Jamal Fogarty, I know he was out there, but doing the pre-season. And now Hodgson, is it something around that they're not doing enough flexibility? It's all gym work and
possibly.
And probably the Roosters might be in the same boat a couple of years ago where they all seem to have knee issues once a week and that type of thing. So it might be something that the S&C coaches need to look at around, hey, I don't need you in the gym. I might need you out running and a bit more flexibility and things like that.
Yeah, Canberra's got a good backup hooker there with Tommy Starling. I like him. But same again, it tests their depth in that hooking role now.
Yes, certainly does. So, review of the weekend's results. So, Thursday night we saw the Storm and the Rabbitohs. Storm 15, Rabbitohs 14.
Yeah, great finish to this. And you look at the score and it's Melbourne have won by 1 point. But if you really watch the game, Melbourne come out of the blocks absolutely flying and put on a score on Melbourne very, very early and led 14-0 or something. Mate, South Sydney really didn't strike a blow until the 67th minute, until Melbourne Storm had 2 players in the bin.
Yeah.
And miraculously, Melbourne come back 14-12 with a chance to square the game up, and Latrell misses a goal from the sideline.
Well, really, Latrell missed 3 goals.
He missed 3 goals.
They probably should have been in front.
Yeah. But same again, like some of these decisions by the referees with players going to the sin bin. South Sydney weren't in the game. Like, went 13-13. South Sydney were nowhere in the game, and then they get 2 in the bin, and it changes the decisions of the game, and all of a sudden Latrell kicks a big 45-metre 2-point field goal, and it goes to a draw. Goes to extra time.
The thing with that, the thing I don't like Latrell, he's on $1 gazillion, and he only plays for about 10 minutes of the game. And he kicked that field goal and carried on. He thought he was Hulk Hogan, I thought, and the cheese come out and took the piss out of him. But those type of players, you want them to play for the full 80 minutes to have a full impact, rather than come along and the game's on the line. All right, I'll get involved now.
Yeah, you're right. South Sydney couldn't spark anything, and like I said, until the 67th minute, they had nothing. They had nothing, no attack whatsoever. I look at that back line now for the Rabbits, and I know they've lost Adam Reynolds. So Lachlan Illis is the half. Cody Walker's the 6. The rest of that back line, they've obviously lost Dane Gagai, and Jackson Paulo comes into the centres. But mate, they've got nothing in the back line there.
And you look at Alex Johnson, gun player, but he's a finisher. Catch the ball, put it down.
And the other night, I could see a couple of defensive things that I've seen, and I've said, and I might have mentioned to you with last year. Particularly when you're defending your line, a lot of teams, and Saints do it, and I don't know why, but I see South Sydney and I see Melbourne and the Broncos are starting to do something a little bit different, which I like, which is outside the box. So if you're defending on your own line, normally teams are coming out to the 10 metre, holding, letting the attack do whatever they like, and then we'll defend it. But what I see the Broncos and what I see Melbourne did the other night is, once you come off your line, they just keep coming forward. So it's cutting their thinking time down. But also, Xavier Coates on that right edge was sort of getting in the passing lane for Cody Walker. And he's a little bit gun-shy, Cody, because obviously he's thrown an intercept in the grand final. He's thrown an intercept week 1 to Albert Kelly. So they've done a little bit of homework there. And the Broncos are doing the same against Canterbury the other night. So out wide, the 5'8" comes up. So Kelly keeps coming up. Katoni Staggs keeps coming up. They just keep coming up into the line. They're cutting their thinking time down. The ball's not getting to the winger.
Yeah.
So they're either turning them back in, they're making the tackle, or if you get half smart and you put a kick in behind, the winger's actually staying back in that pocket to defend it. Yeah. So diffuse the kick. So I do like the idea of just don't stop on the 10. Just keep going out. You're either going to make the tackle, or if you make the tackle, it then restarts back out on the 15 or something. You've
only got to get back to the
That's
5
right.
out there.
That's right. So I do like that way. But South Sydney, mate, they have got their outside backs. They're really missing Dane Gagai doing those early carries.
Yeah. Yeah, the tough stuff. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see, too, and we'll chat about it later, but they take on the Roosters this week, so they could be 0-3.
Yeah, well, the way the Roosters played last week, mate, they They were good around
Yeah.
the middle and so forth. They were solid against Manly. South have scored 4 points the first week. They've scored 14 points the second week. 2 of them are off a Latrell 45-metre field goal. And they've only scored tries when Melbourne are down to 11 players.
Yeah.
So attack-wise, I'd be a little bit concerned there for Jason Demetriou.
Friday night saw the Dragons and the Panthers. Dragons 16, Panthers 20. Panthers are so clinical, and you just see them. Their line speed is tremendous, especially seeing them live. Their line speed, and it's not for 10 minutes. It's not for 15. It's for the full 80.
Yeah.
Isaiah Yeo leads that. He's just getting up. I don't know whether they're so fit or they're half a yard offside or what it is, but their line speed, it's so tough to get any go forward.
It is. I've seen it. Obviously, we got to see this game live. I haven't been to a live game for probably 2 years, but it was good to see it live. One thing, I think you and I spoke at the game about the Penrith line speed, and it's not only they do it for the whole 80 minutes, but it's not only the guys around the ruck. It's from winger to winger. The whole line just goes up to cut your. And I noticed a couple of times there, Ben Hunt got. Obviously Ben Hunt got charged down there by big Billy Kickow, but also it sort of cut Ben Hunt's thinking time down.
Yeah. Junior Amoni had a bit
Junior
of an issue
Amoni, I've seen him turn players back in, like he kept turning Jaden Sewer back in on that edge and so forth. And so, it's obviously, I got a feeling that Penrith, they move up too early.
Yeah. They're
always going too early. But the top teams are doing that. You know, I mean, the Melbourne, the Souths, when Wayne Bennett was there, Penrith, they all do exactly the same. They're all moving up before the Bulls cleared the ruck and so forth. So, but same again. I was pretty happy with St George the way they played. They dropped a lot of ball early in the first half. They weren't the best team in the first half, but referee gave him an absolute leg up with Jaden Sewer going.
Well, even the penalty for George Burgess, I thought was harsh.
Yeah.
As well, which had an impact. They kicked a penalty goal from that.
And Penrith scored 14 points, 14 unanswered points, while Jaden Sewer's in the bin.
Yeah.
So they really attacked that edge. But Jesus, I seen the same thing that Jaden Sewer did on the halfback, Sean O'Sullivan. I seen that probably 2 or 3 times later on in the weekend for a 0 result.
Play on. Yeah.
It was just play on. So the inconsistency is giving the fans the shits. The players, the coaches, they're not sure, where it's going, but the inconsistency. And then later in the game, there was no points put on Saints. Zach Lomax got sent to the sin bin. And I've watched the replay a couple of times. Penrith put a kick through on Zach Lomax's inside shoulder, and he turns to chase the ball, and a Penrith player runs into him, and then Penrith they get a penalty, and I think didn't they kick the 2? No, they didn't take. No, there was no points. But like fair dinkum, if the team puts a kick through, what's the defender supposed to disappear? Like, fuck, where's he supposed to go?
The most pleasing thing I think about St George was the effort.
Yeah,
like they were down, and twice only had 12 players, but certainly the effort from St George, you can really see. It's coming together for them, and as a Saints fan, that's certainly pleasing, and especially the 2 back rowers. Jack Bird, he was enormous, and so was Jaden Sewer.
Yeah,
they were both enormous there.
Yeah, and I thought also, like for Penrith, James Fisher-Harris has probably been the best front rower in the game for so long. Frankie Molo made it his business. Like he cleaned him up early on.
Yeah, and
he was going to stick to take him on. So. You're right, mate. And Saints made an impact. Their bench made an impact. Hook played. Tarek Sims is starting in the middle, which is the same again this week. Jack DeBellin's off the bench, where I can see what Hook's trying to do there. Take the sting out of the game, and then bring Jack on, say, 20 minutes in, and then Jack can play a full game then.
Yeah. Because
in the past, he's probably played 50, 55 minutes if he starts, and he's had to have a spell. But
he's playing 20, getting a half-time breather, and then going.
St George's attack is completely different without Jack DeBellin on the park. But I can see what he's trying to do. He's trying to win that muscle early.
And not only that, with Tarek coming off after 20 or whatever minutes, he can then go back on as another prop.
Yeah.
As such, like he doesn't have to play on that edge.
No.
But if need be, he can as well. So he covers a few positions.
Yeah, between Jaden Silver and Jack Bird, they can play big minutes.
Yeah. So the Roosters 26, Sea Eagles 12. So the Sea Eagles are now 0-2 as well. Start of the season. So I wouldn't have envisaged this. That sort of, I think we tipped them to be close to winning the comp. I know it's a long season, but. They need to turn things around. I think.
Well, same again.
Quickly.
Mate, I'll put my hand up. I tipped Manly to win the comp, and I still think they can. 2020, they were 2021. They were 0-4.
Yes,
and they still finished in the top 4.
But with that, 2021 they didn't have turbo for that.
That's right. That's right.
So, but this year they've got turbo, so they really haven't got anyone to come back. Only Schuster.
Yeah.
Is to come back into that side, but yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Let's see how they go.
Titans 20, Warriors 18.
Yeah, the Titans, they're just going on. They're going okay. They're going to they'll be knocking on the door of the 8 somewhere there. They're just playing well. They've got a great pack of forwards. Their backs are obviously doing some good things, but. I was impressed with the Titans.
Yeah, they certainly are. They've got a great pack too. They just seem to hunt a little bit in a pack as such. So they
good
really
bench
well.
too.
Yeah. Sharks 18, Eels 16.
Yeah, well, we all tipped the Sharks. We knew it'd be a close one. Like I said on last week's podcast, I tipped the Sharks with no confidence, only because it was at their home ground and what they scored with the last
minute, and then
Nico Hines
had
kicks
the
a
kick.
goal.
Yeah.
So they've only got up by 2 points, and you would have thought they'd won the comp out there.
And you see Toby Rudolph, he's in the crowd cheering along.
Yeah.
And I heard last night, I was saying, so Toby Rudolph jumped the fence and he's in the crowd, high fives and cuddling and everything like that. But they wouldn't let ScoMo, who was at the game, into the dressing sheds for COVID protocol. I thought that was quite funny.
Wow. So yeah, the Sharks got out of jail there at the end.
It was the Sharks of old. You know, that old grind.
Yeah. Pull you down into the gutter.
Yeah,
and we'll have a bit of a wrestle.
See how we go. I still think they've got too many. I don't know, not too many ball players, but there's too many sort of generals there as such. Nico Hines is trying to run the show. Matt Moylan's trying to run the show. I think that they sort of
wait till Wade Graham comes back there too, because where are they going to, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're going to have that many ball players and no runners.
Yeah, exactly. So, Cowboys, Raiders. Cowboys 26, Raiders 6. This is the only one we got wrong.
Yeah, and this is when you listen back to last week's podcast, we probably mentioned that. I know you mentioned about. I haven't watched this game and I haven't seen the highlights, but
lack of attack.
Well, Canberra lack of attack, but we spoke about the Cowboys lack of attack. But also, what I was going to say was the temperature going from Canberra up there, and 26-6. I mean, by the sounds of it, Canberra ran out of petrol.
They looked a bit flat. I did watch it.
They looked a bit lethargic.
Yeah. So, Josh Whiten. Jack Whiten. He's a bit like Cody Walker at South. He's got to do everything.
Yeah.
And now with Hodgson gone as well, like a lot of their attack come from Hodgson, but he's got to do everything there. So it's going to be interesting to see how they come around from that.
Yeah, but obviously Cowboys have had drama scoring points and they've put 26 on the Raiders.
Yeah, so it even makes it even probably longer for our man Scotty Drinkwater, who I think we started a petition to get him back into first grade.
Yeah, he still missed out.
Yeah, so Knights 26, Tigers 4.
Yeah, mate, the Knights on top of the table. If you said to me 3 weeks ago after round 2 the Knights are going to be on the top of the table, I would have thought you're off your head. Particularly, Kalen was out last week.
No, Kalen, yeah.
Saifidi was out. Daniel Saifidi was out. So I think Big Clem.
He got injured.
Yeah, so I know they're playing the Tigers, mate, and they're in a bit of a froth and bubble. But yeah, the Knights are going along famously. They're going well. The 2 centres are going good. Bradman Best and Dane
The
Gagai.
thing I like about them, they get the ball, and you see a lot of these teams. We may mention it. I think you were saying Katoni Staggs for the Broncos. About 60 minutes in, he'd only had 3 runs.
It was actually later than that, mate, because I got to see the tail end of this game, where it was probably 12 minutes to go.
Yeah,
and he'd had 3 hit-ups.
Yeah, where these guys for Newcastle, they're either getting early ball or and that's what you want. Just either give it to me early and I'll take them on, and you'd love being a winger outside him. You just stick to the line.
Joe, the lunch that I was at on Friday with Joey, he spoke highly of the 2 halves, Adam Clune and Jake Clifford. He couldn't get over the brain on Adam Clune. He said he's just got a really good football brain and it's good to work with him. And he said Clifford's the type of, he's a confidence player. He said you just need to put your arm around him and give him a cuddle and so forth, where possibly up at the Cowboys before with Clifford it was finger pointing and ripping into him and so forth, and he probably doesn't respond. I seen a headline the other day, are these 2 halves the most underrated in the game? You would think they're the cheapest.
Yeah.
The cheapest halves pairing, and they're doing the job.
And even when you thought, and we mentioned when we reviewed them early on, Pearce is going to be a massive loss. But yeah, they've sort of kicked along and hasn't even missed a beat type of thing. If not, anything's improved. I know it's early on, but yeah. Bulldogs, Broncos. Bulldogs 10, Broncos 16.
Mate, the Bulldogs, when they look to me like a club that just don't know how to win.
Yes.
Like I watched the tail end of this game and they had that much quality ball. They got a couple of repeat sets, they got a penalty, kick for touch and so forth, but they just don't know how to win. And it's possibility coming down to the last 2 or 3 years that they just don't know how to win. It's become a habit.
Losing's a habit, yeah.
The only one that looks like knows how to win there is the Fox, and he's a winger.
Yeah.
But they just don't know. They were so easy to defend. Like late in the game there, they had Brisbane on the ropes and had plenty of attack, and they were just setting up for they'd get to work to one post and then they bring it across and they'd have a shot down the right hand side and they get tackled and they couldn't score, and then they try and can't get to the left hand side and they couldn't score, and then they were just going shot for 6 shots. But they were so easy to defend. There was no bringing someone back on the inside. And you and I spoke about Matt Duffy. Like Paul Vaughan late in that game was absolutely trying to bust his ass and break the line and get his hands free. And he did it a couple of times. He was just looking for Duffy to sniff around off him. But Duffy wasn't there. That's where I would have thought there were a chance of scoring around the middle of the ruck. Not out on the edges.
And with Duffy's speed, like half a hole turns into a full hole and he breaks through.
Well, Vaughan was sucking in 2-3 players because he's such a big unit. Had his hands free. All he had to do was pop it. But from Canterbury, there's no one there. They weren't concerned about scoring off an easy try, like an easy setup with Vaughan. They were let's try and do the trick one and out the back, and you know what I mean. Yeah. They were playing to the TV. They were looking for that fancy try rather than the soft one up the middle.
I think some of them teams are too structured.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
And that's the thing, that's probably the difference with Melbourne. You look at them, they're extremely structured, but they can also play ad hoc footy, and they can play structured fast as well.
Yeah.
That they can, hey, we need to get on the front foot, let's bang, bang, bang.
Well, I noticed that with Penrith, with the game you and I went to last Friday, and I think you and I commented, Penrith coming off their own line, so many times they get the ball, and they just put it through the hands.
Well, even
both halves.
And both ways.
That's right.
Like they'll Saints knock the ball on about the 4th or the 5th, about 30 out from Penrith's line on the left-hand side. I think the centre picked it up, and they just went prop, hooker, prop, second rower, lock, and just pass it, and the other winger got tackled. Like, straight away, they're on the attack. It reminds me of the sort of 91, 92 Brisbane Broncos.
Yeah, it was the same.
Just,
I think a kick went through and it went to Dylan Edwards, and then he went pass. It went to Jerome, and then it went to the centre, Crichton, and it went to Toto.
Yeah.
They just put it, like, it just went, they
They
covered
had a
sort
crack
of,
on the first
yeah,
tackle.
it covered sort of 2/3 of the field, and they went through sort of four sets of hands.
Yeah.
You weren't expecting them to have a shot.
Straight away. So, who was your most impressive team of the week?
Mate, there was a couple there you'd have to think of. You'd probably look at, I was impressed with the Saints. The Cowboys, I don't think anyone tipped the Cowboys after Canberra played really well last week. But the same again, the Knights, mate. The Knights hang in. They haven't played. I know they played the Tigers. The Knights reserve grade side could have probably come out and got the points there, but they're looking okay.
Yeah. And the Drew Blackman Sex Award for most disappointing?
Oh, probably the referees this week.
For me, it was the Raiders.
Yeah, of course.
To go up there and turn up like that was pretty ordinary. So.
Yep.
Round 4 of the Women's Rugby League, the Titans and the Broncos. The Broncos, their first loss in, I think, 2 or 3 years. The Titans 28, Broncos 26.
Yeah, well, I took a bit of interest in this because this was in my multi.
Yes.
Even though I bombed out early because I tipped Rava to score any time, but I had a second multi, a cover, a hedge my bets.
Bet.
But when I seen the line, because I seen this score, I think I might have been out doing the groceries actually, and the Titans led 14-0 or 12-0, and it was pretty early. And then I looked at the squads, the teams that the Broncos had trotted out, and there was so many players missing. I think they only kept the halves pairing. Millie Boyle was out. What's the fullback? Tamika Upton. She was out. So a lot of their stars were missing. They brought a lot of their bench players in, but obviously got their good luck to the Titans. And they got the win.
Yeah, great win.
And it was nice and close there, 28-26. But yeah, I think when the whips are cracking.
Yeah. Eels Roosters. Eels 18, Roosters 19.
Did you see the field goal by is it Tamara Zahara or whatever? Did you see the size of the field goal? It's huge, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, she kicked a field goal with a couple of minutes to go to put them up 19-18. Roosters led early, 12-0, and then Parramatta come back and got a couple of tries through Maddie Studden on that left edge and so forth.
Yeah.
Get them back in the game, and yeah, the Roosters come away with a field goal at the death to get the 2 points.
Besides the next game, the scores even all year have been really close.
Yeah.
Like there's been no blowouts as such,
No.
and the next one's the Dragons 40, the Knights 4, which was a bit of a touch-up. That was the biggest win in WNRL history. And Saints, once the Broncos got beaten, St George had to win by 21 or something to go to the top of the table.
Yeah,
they
Saints
obviously did that. But, yeah, the scores are nice and close, which is good.
Yeah, you don't want blowouts, and we spoke about that last week, mate. But Saints were determined. They played all their stars.
Yes,
and
Kezzy Apps was back from injury.
They were
and things
determined
like
to
that,
get out and do a job on the Knights. And even though Newcastle scored first,
yeah.
And but yeah, they scored some. They showed their dominance.
The good thing is with the two newer clubs, well, the Eels have sort of got a lot of superstars there anyway, but the two newer clubs, the Titans and the Knights. Might not be this year, might not be, but 2 or 3 years' time, they're going to be heaps better for it. Like next year, there's 8 teams coming in than 10. Well, they got the jump on all those other teams.
Yeah, they're going to
already.
be more experienced. The Titans are getting better, and the Knights are getting. When you watch them, they're getting better week in, week out.
Yeah, certainly. Preview of Round 3, the NRL, Thursday, 8:05, Wynn Stadium, St George Illawarra Dragons v the Cronulla Sharks.
Yeah, well, this is down at Wollongong. So Saints first game down at Wollongong, and Saints have got a pretty good record down there.
Yes.
So I'm pretty confident. I did see. I've highlighted a couple. Obviously, we spoke about Moses Mbai is gone into the hooking role this week. Big Georgie Burgess is named at number 24. I know he's had a couple of off-field discretions this week. I can't see him playing. He's not named in the 17.
No.
Jack DeBellin's named at 14, with Tariq Sims starts at lock forward. I'm not sure whether that's the final bench there was Saints, with the Jack DeBellin, Josh Kerr, Jackson Ford, and Jack Gawowski.
I think you got a name start with J to be on the bench there. Apparently.
Yeah, that's right. Jack, Josh, Jackson, and Jack. To me, we're a front rower short there on the bench.
Well, I made a comment on my notes. There's no second hooker there.
No.
So if Mbai goes down, it's going to be interesting to see if he plays 80 minutes in the middle there.
Yeah.
But we're all forwards on the bench. Cronulla are all forwards as well. So it's just going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
I noticed Dale Finucane's back at lock forward this week, and Cam McInnes is on the bench against his old club.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting on how that goes.
And Mulatalo's out too. He's come to an injury, so they've got Sione Katoa and Matt Ikavalu on the wings there.
Okay.
Who are you tipping?
I'm going to take Saints, mate, of course.
I've got St George 1-12 also.
Yep.
The first Friday night game, 6 o'clock, out of beautiful Campbelltown Sports Stadium. The West Tigers up against the New Zealand Warriors.
First home game for the Tigers at Campbelltown this week. I see the Warriors round 3, and they've got a new halves pairing again.
Yes.
After week 1, they had Sean Johnson out with injury, and week 2, Ash Taylor is now out with injury. So they've gone with Chanel Harris-Tavita at 6 and Cody Nikarima at 7. They'll be good. Reece Walsh will be there from. I think Rocco Berry's back this week.
Yes.
This will be a good game. It'll be a good test. I actually think the Tigers might get their first win this week.
Well, it's interesting. Jackson Hastings, even though he's named there, he's out until round 6, suspended.
Is he?
Yes. So I don't know.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. So I don't know whether Peachy comes into play 6 because obviously.
Yeah.
What's the other guy's name? He's injured with his knee.
Oh, Dewey, Adam Dewey.
Adam Dewey, that's him. He'd be the perfect number 6 there for him to replace Hastings. But
yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, whether Peachy comes into play 5'8" and they bring someone else onto the bench.
Well, the only other option there is that Jock Madden, who's named at 19. Whether they give him a shot at the title.
Yes, maybe.
But you're right there. I think Peachy's probably the go-to there at 6 because he's a bit of a Mr. Fix-It.
Yes.
And then it brings another forward in. Now that Hastings out, I didn't know that he wasn't in, but I'd probably still stick with the Tigers there, mate. In a close one.
I'm going to take the Warriors 1-12 and jump on Wade Egan anytime try scorer too while you're at it.
You do like him, don't you?
I do love him for an anytime try scorer. Friday, 8:05 from a core stadium out there at Homebush. The South Sydney Rabbitohs, the Sydney Roosters.
Big game this one.
This is the rivalry that started in 1908 and has continued on forever and a day. So this one should be a cracker.
Pressure is on the Rabbits.
Pressure is on the Rabbits.
Pressure is on the Rabbits to get the points.
Again, we sort of mentioned in that reviewing their last game, Latrell Mitchell, he's got to be involved more. He just can't sit at the back. So I don't know whether.
Well, I think so. Also, Drew, we spoke about this because he was suspended. He didn't have any trial games, and that probably the part of the game last week with Melbourne why he was in and out of the game because he was cactus.
But not only that, I find too. No matter how fit you are, and I think you back in the day you played one season at fullback. You're a halfback and you play fullback. You got to be so fit to play fullback. Mate. You got to defend everywhere, but also too they're kicking to you. You got to bring the ball back. There's 13 coming at you or 12 coming at you, ready to smash you.
Yeah.
Where at centres, he can sort of save himself. He's not making getting across here behind the ruck and yelling and that type of thing. So I'd probably put him back in the centres because he's
at fullback, you can just about guarantee you're going to touch the ball in every set of attacking 6.
Yeah. At
some stage, you're going to get the ball. Where if he's playing in the centres, some sets of 6, you're not even going to get the ball.
And in some sets of 6, he's not going to make a tackle either.
No, that's right.
So I think he's got to go back to into the centres there.
Yeah. One thing I did notice here, a couple of changes, what Robbo's done with the Roosters. We spoke about it last week where they had Momorowski name in the centres and Joey Mano on the wing.
Yes.
And we said Billy Smith may be well, guess what?
They've swapped him around. Momirovski's gone into...
Momorowski and Manu in the centres and Billy Smith's on the wing.
You think Robbo's a listener?
Well, he could be, mate. He could be a closet listener. He could be taking tips from us. But the other two players that I look at too, and I can see what Robbo's done here. Angus Crichton, he's brought off the bench. And also Jared Warrior-Hargraves is off the bench.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I know Takiahu started off the bench last week and he had a massive game. So, yeah, it's just interesting to see his thoughts there.
Maybe whether it's similar to St George and they take the sting out of it and then Jared comes on and Crichton comes on and when they're a little bit tired out wide.
Yeah, I'm guessing so. But Souths need to improve. I know they'd probably improve between rounds 1 and rounds 2. They got pretty close to the Storm. But I'll tip the Roosters here this week.
I got the Roosters 13+. That's
wow.
how confident I am.
Well,
they'll put a clinic on.
That is showing confidence.
3 o'clock on Saturday from Carrington Park, Bathurst. The Penrith Panthers up against the Newcastle Knights.
Yeah, this will be a good game out at Bathurst. Last year's premiers versus the current top of the table undefeated Knights. Penrith seem to always go good out there, and it's good that they're taking the game out to Bathurst, out to Carrington Park. I'd rather be going out there in March than in July. I noticed Nathan Cleary's here named as number 24.
Yeah.
So let's whether Ivan's just playing smoke and mirrors, I'm not sure. Spencer Leniu doesn't start this week. He goes back to the bench.
Well, it was interesting. He didn't actually start last week, even though he was named. Matty Eisenhuth started. So.
Yeah, so he's brought Matt Eisenhuth as a starting front rower this week. He's made the pack still good. Nice to see Daniel Saifidi back for the Knights. He won't let them down. They've obviously Big Clem's out this week. Adam Clemmer. What's his name? David Clemmer. That's him. His
brother Adam.
David Clemmer is not there. So this game will be closer than I think a lot of people expect. I think this will be one of the great games. 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon.
It'll be good too. There's two things there. Kalen Ponga's back too. He didn't play last week. 3 o'clock though in the afternoon. It'll be fast footy, so it should be dry.
Yeah.
It'll be fast footy, so it'll be good to see two teams sort of going toe to toe. I still think the Panthers 1-12.
Yeah, I think the Panthers just, mate, but only because of their experience and so forth. But it'll be a good test to see where the Knights are at.
Then we go from Bathurst to Amy Park in Melbourne for the 5:30 game. Melbourne Storm and the Parramatta Eels.
Yeah, well, this will be interesting to see because Para's normally got a pretty good record against the Storm. Obviously Harry Grant's out, and then Tyron Wishart is off the bench as well. So, yeah, I'm not sure what the plan of attack is, whether they got Jaden Nikarumu's number 21.
Well, it's interesting there. They've got Brandon Smith at 23 as well, so whether...
Surely the cheese is not...
Well, they're sort of saying 5 weeks for that hand injury, but...
Yeah.
So, yeah, that'll be interesting to see.
I noticed round 3 now, Nathan Brown for the Parramatta Eels is in the starting pack.
Well, round 1 he couldn't even make the top 17.
That's right. Round 1 he wasn't even in the top 17. Now he's gone from the bench. Now he's in the starting pack. So he must be doing some good things there. But Parramatta's pack and their bench, mate, geez, they got some punch off the bench.
Yeah. That Oregon Kafusi, he does really well coming in off the bench.
Yeah. This because this game's played at Amy Park, I think Melbourne.
Yes.
But if this was at Parramatta Stadium, I'd be tipping Para. That's just how close it is.
I'm on Melbourne 1-12.
Tell you a bloke that's impressed me there with that Melbourne side, and obviously Craig Bellamy, is their lock forward Josh King.
Yes.
He's been good for him, hasn't he? Like I thought they were going to lose a bit with Dale Finucane, but mate, he just does the little things, doesn't he?
Well,
big body.
I don't know if you saw the interview, Matty John's interview with Bellamy, and he said about the Army camp that Josh King was the most impressive there. So it must say a lot about those Army camps and why they do them and what they get out of them. So that's interesting. So,
yeah.
The 7:35 game on Saturday evening is at GIO Stadium, Canberra. Canberra Raiders v the Gold Coast Titans.
This is a bit of a weather role reversal that we said last week about
week.
the Raiders up at Townsville. The Titans on the Gold Coast, sunny Gold Coast, are now going to come down to Canberra. And I'll have Canberra this week. Brad Schneider is back in the 7 role after being out with COVID last week. And like I said before, I highlighted here Jermaine Osako's gone straight to the Titans, but like I said, I don't know where he's going to play because the back line there they got with Philip Sammy, Brian Kelly, Patrick Herbert and Greg Marzu. I just can't see where Osako's going to fit in there.
And yeah, he's not going to take out Jaden Campbell either.
No, okay, he's a backup goal kicker, but Toby Sexton's doing really well.
This is going to be a top battle of the packs too. Like both packs want to rip and tear.
Yeah, look at the names on the pack there.
Yeah,
and they'll both want
to rip and tear.
Yeah,
it's interesting too. Matt Frawley's there at number 14, so whether he's going to possibly play that hooker role as well. But to me, honestly, I'm tipping the Titans.
Really?
Yep, I'm tipping the Titans. The Raiders, they got to show more than they did last week to impress me.
The only thing, I haven't looked at the weather on this game, but I'm tipping it. Okay, 7:35. It's going to be dewy. It's going to be a wet track. The Raiders not the Raiders. Sorry, the Titans. They love a dry track. You know, if they're playing on the Gold Coast, 3 o'clock, 5:30 game on the Saturday, or a 2 o'clock game on the Gold Coast, they love a dry track. I'm not sure with a wet track how they're going to go.
The Sunday 4:05 game from Suncorp Stadium, Brisbane Broncos versus the North Queensland Cowboys.
Yeah, Queensland Derby.
These are always good games, no matter where they are on the table.
Yeah, whether one's first and one's 16th, doesn't matter. They're always going to rip in.
Yes.
The Broncos back 3 there, a forward pack: Kurt Capewell, Jordan Ricky, Patrick Carrigan, killing them, and it'll be a good matchup against the Cowboys. Back 3 there. I see Lukey is on the bench there for the Cowboys this week. He has been named in the starting second row for the last 2 weeks. But yeah, this will be the toss of the coin. I'm only going to go with the Broncos, mate, because it's at Suncorp Stadium.
I'm going to go with the Broncos as well, but that back line of the Broncos, I think they're starting to come in their own. Like Herbie Farnsworth, Jaden Ockenball caught a cold from him.
Yeah, that was. I've highlighted Ockenball to talk about him.
But even at Selwyn Cobbo, and we spoke early in the week after it about how good he's going to be. That he reminded you of a young GI even.
Well, they've got a good mix there back line. Let's just go through them. Tessie New, he's normally been a 6, but I think one's his spot.
Yes. Because
defensively, I think he's been a little bit vulnerable before. Now he's not in the front line. He can still attack. Oates, you got the 2 different wingers. You got Corey Oates and Selwyn Cobbo. Corey Oates is obviously towards his end of the career, but he's so consistent. He's never going to let you down.
Yes.
Selwyn Cobbo, like we've commented on in the last few weeks, he's a big body. The surprise packet in amongst the centres, because I would have thought Katoni Staggs was going to be the one that was outstanding, but Herbie Farnsworth, he's been killing them.
Yeah.
Big game last week, and he's been their go-to. Brings the early carries back with no issues. Hasn't Albert Kelly grown a league?
Hasn't he? What? He was over there in the UK.
Playing for Hull.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden come back and extended his career.
He's going good around Adam Reynolds and so forth as well. So, mate, they've got a good back line.
And the 6:15 game from Four Pines Park, formerly Lottoland, formerly Brookvale Oval. Manly Warringah Sea Eagles up against the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs.
Mate, get as much on Manly to win this game as you can.
Yes.
Is there a higher option than 13 plus?
Possibly.
Manly are going to
own line.
Manly are going to get their first 2 points against the Dogs. Take a photo of that Jaden Ockenball.
Well, I can't believe he let in nearly all 3 tries, I think, last week, and he's still been picked.
Mate, take a photo of him because he won't be there in round 4. I'll give you the tip.
Because there's that young kid on the bench, that Aaron Shoup.
Mate, what's he got to do to get a game? He was one of their best last year.
Yeah.
Moved Naden out onto the wing, or Braden Burns, or one of them out on the wing, because Ockenball's just a passenger. He's an absolute passenger. But Manly this week are going to get their first 2 points. I see Sean Kepi's the starting front rower this week. Sipley's back at number 18. Good balanced pack. Good balanced team across the park. They haven't gone too much for size off the bench this week with Manly. They've gone for, obviously, Carl Lawton's back rower. Dylan Walker's a Mr. Fix-It.
Isn't he, like, a few years ago, he was on looking retire and that type of thing, but he's just found a new lease of life with that number 14 spot.
He must be getting paid. Like, I know he's just signed with the Warriors, and they must have absolutely paid overs for him, but sometimes you got to look at, are you happy doing what you're doing there at Manly? He's going to go over there. They must have paid a fortune.
It's a bit
for him.
like, and we spoke about who's the next first grade coach you think in line, and we mentioned Cameron Serrato, who's the assistant coach at Penrith.
Yeah.
Do you want to go and put your head into the fire?
That's right. Are you just happy being the assistant?
And hey, I'm happy to be the assistant, not have all the stress, and my team's winning premierships.
Yeah.
Or do I want to go and have all the stress and my team's like, no, Cameron Serrato's linked to the Tigers.
Yeah.
We could win the wooden spoon, or do I just stay here, not have all the stress, and go from there?
Can you, with Dylan Walker going to the Warriors next year, can you see him winning a comp?
No.
Can you see Manly playing in the playoffs?
Yes.
I can't even see the Warriors playing in the playoffs, you know what I mean? So you got to, I don't know. I know he's coming off the bench and he's probably not getting big minutes, but when there's an injury there, it adds strength to your depth and so forth, but he's got to have a good...
Yeah, I've got Manly 13 plus as
well. 21 plus.
21 plus.
Yeah.
So that's our preview of round 3 in the NRL. Round 5 of the WNRL. Dragons v the Roosters on Saturday, 1 o'clock at Netstrata Jubilee Stadium, live from Cogra.
Is there any other games on at Cogra? They just got Cogra just for these?
Might be some
SG Ball,
Harrow Match, New South Wales Cup and that type of thing.
Yeah, this will be a good game. I see the two of our favourites, Racine McGregor and Paige McGregor, obviously up against each other.
Sisters?
Yeah, I don't think they've played against each other prior. So that'll be a good head-to-head.
Wonder who Mum Glennis is going to cheer on.
Well, Glennis might have the one jersey on and Dad might have the other jersey on or something. I'm not sure. But
I reckon Glennis will have both on. Knowing her, she supports both them kids tremendously, so she'll have both on.
So I'm going to tip the Dragons, mate, because they're playing well. They're on top of the comp. But, this will be a good game.
This will be a really good game.
Dry.
Roosters
I don't know if it's a dry... Is it dry track? No, it'll be wet. So
rain.
Saints played really well in the wet a couple of weeks ago down at... Wollongong, where it was absolutely pissing down rain. But, I'll tip the Dragons there.
Titans and the Knights. It's actually a triple header up at Suncorp Stadium. So we've got the 2 women's game, then the NRL game up there, which is great. The Titans v the Knights, a Sunday 12 o'clock from Suncorp.
Mate, this will be good. The Titans and the Knights, they're 2 new teams. Obviously, the Titans had a win last week over the Broncos, so they'll get a lot of confidence out of that one. The Knights haven't struck a win as yet.
Not as yet, no.
But if there's ever a time the Knights are going to get a win, it could be this game. Not a close one. This will be a close. I'm going to tip the Titans in this one, but only a close one.
I'm with the Titans as well. I think just due to travel from that type of thing, they've only got to go up the road. And the 1:45 Suncorp Stadium on Sunday, Broncos and the Eels.
Yeah, Broncos will want to bounce back after last week. I'm not sure. I haven't seen the team line up. The Broncos will be wanting to bounce back.
It's going to be interesting. It's probably not best for the Eels to be facing the Broncos this week because their cage would have been rattled after having a loss and not being on top of the table as well. They might.
Yeah, they'll be hurting.
Try and put on a
show.
They'll
come out with all guns blazing.
Yeah, certainly. Each week we pick our favourite player of all time from a certain club. This week is the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs.
Yeah, this took a little bit of thinking, mate. I've obviously had some fantastic eras, the Dogs over the 70s and the 80s and then the 2000s and so forth. So they've had some really good eras. But one of the players, when you look at a player from the Dogs, and there's so many to choose from, and it's such a family club. They've had the Mortimers and the Hugheses and the Andersons and the Folks and those sort, all the family there and so forth. But one bloke, I guess, who's the starch of that club and the tradition and the fabric of that club is one of my favourites, is Terry Lamb. The great Terry Lamb. I have had an opportunity to do a bit of work with Terry off the field, and had a few golf games and a few drinks and so forth. And mate, an absolute champion bloke.
He he sort of, you're right, he was that era of, they had all the stars, and then he come out and, and tough too for his size.
Yeah.
Try scorer from backing up, and he must have been so fit too back in his day. I remember we actually got to play touch footy against Terry Lamb.
We did.
Up at Liverpool there, and he played for I think they were called the Shot Budgies.
Shot Budgies?
And I was only sort of early 20s or type of thing, so he would have been in his late 40s. But just, you could tell the time he had.
Competitive,
competitive, but just the time and the ball skills, and like we're playing touch footy, but yeah, he certainly, you could tell he still had it.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And he's got the talent, but also he was around a time, and we spoke about this. There were so many good 5'8" around that time, and he was at the top of the tree. You know what I mean? There was Cliffy Lyons, Wally Lewis, there was Terry Lamb, there was so many, Brett Kenny. There's so many good number 6s around that era, and mate, yeah, he stood up to him.
Yeah,
Laurie Daly's.
Laurie Daly, yeah. Mine's from the same era. Cement Gillespie.
Oh yeah, Dave Cement Gillespie. Yeah,
tough, just no nonsense. And you look at that forward pack they used to have, the Dogs of War.
Yeah.
Steve Folkes.
Steve Folkes, Paul Langmack, Cement Gillespie, Paul Dunn.
Yeah.
Who was it? Peter Kelly,
like
Billy Johnston, Mark Bugden. They had some
tough like hombres.
Yeah.
That you just but yes, I used to like watching Cement in defence. He'd just come in.
Yeah.
And we sort of mentioned one player last week. Trevor Gilmeister was one of them. But like them two going at each other, trying to be the top dog on the field. But yeah, Cement Gillespie for me.
And he had success wherever he went. Like he played at the Dogs, played at the Western Suburbs Magpies, played at Manly, and they were in the playoffs or grand finals wherever he went. You know what I mean? So part of it was because of his rock solid defence.
Yeah. So
Cement Gillespie.
Now the Would You Rather segment. Jonathan Thurston finally knocked off Hazem El Masri last week. So it's Jonathan Thurston's drive to win, or Jeff Tuvey's toughness.
Wow. It's you've made it a hard one this week.
We're only going to get harder because I'm running out of people.
Yeah, mate. Jesus. You look at toughness in the game, and there's so many different eras and players, but this name, Jeff Tuvey, is always synonymous with being toughness in the game.
Well, pound for pound, and to think he started at a halfback and finished his career as a hooker. And there's one, I think it's one of the grand finals or something, and his head just got trodden on, and he come up like a split watermelon. Blood was everywhere. A couple of band-aids type of thing, and he's back out there ready to rip in.
That famous 97, even I think there's in 96 when Saints played him, got beaten 20-8. Manly won the comp. I think there's him holding the trophy up, and he's got cuts all over his head and so forth. But mate, there's some tough players that's played in the game and played first grade and so forth, but none tougher than Jeff Tuvey, and I think he's going to go through this week.
Jeff Tuvey. So Jonathan Thurston's only lasted 1 week.
1 round, yeah.
Wow, Tuve's toughness. He'll be tough to beat, pardon the pun. Now, our Encyclopedia of Players from 1995, the Encyclopedia of Rugby League Players, 1995. Last week we had Con Sullivan from the North Sydney Bears from page 444, so please pick between 2 and 504 this week.
Let's go to page 171.
172 I was on.
Oh,
I'm a machine. I am a machine.
You're getting closer. Who have we got on 171 this week?
Andy Goodway.
Andy Goodway.
Yep. Manly, 1985, 8 games, 1 try. Great Britain international forward. First came to Australia with the 1984 Lions, playing in all 3 tests. Goodway's stay with the Sea Eagles the following year was less than flattering, but he was a long-stamped his class as a back rower with the English club sides Castleford and Oldham. In 1994, he was again in the news when he took over from former Australian Test forward Bob Linder as captain coach of Oldham.
Right.
Andy Goodway.
Second rower.
Yeah, 8 games.
Back rower. I remember when he played with the Poms, and Come out, like I said, didn't have a lot of success with Manly.
Yeah, 8 games he played, 1 try. So
Okay.
he got off the nerdy run at least. So
Andy Goodway.
Andy Goodway.
Would he be the first Pom that we've had?
Most likely.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Okay. We had a Kiwi last week.
Kiwi, yes.
That's good.
Now our music segment this week, Herbie's hits, pump up songs.
Well, Herbie's hits all pump up songs, but one of my favourite all-time bands is obviously Cold Chisel, and the leader of that one is one of famous Jimmy Barnes, a great Australian, great entertainer and so forth, and he's got a numerous amount of hits, but this is one of the ones that gets a run in the car as I'm driving along the highway.
Driving Wheels by Jimmy Barnes.
All-time favourite. You'll have to get this on our Spotify list. This will go straight to the Spotify list. A bit of a play on here. He has put this into his new repertoire as well, one of his songs. Well, this song in particular, because I've seen it last couple of times. I've been to him and he's played this one.
Do you reckon he could get a longer intro?
Yeah, it'll kick off soon.
Jesus.
You could have started it early. He's had some fantastic hits, Jimmy, along the way. Not only as an individual, but also with Cold Chisel. Always does a good film clip.
Easter should just be our halftime entertainment at the grand final forever.
Absolutely. Living on borrowed time, and broken hearts are left behind.
So that's Driving Wheels by Jimmy Barnes.
Get that one on you.
Get that one on there. So that's Herbie's hits.
Do like a Jimmy Barnes.
Our best bet of the week. We've struggled the last couple of weeks. You had a 93-leg multi last week that got pipped by 92 legs.
No, that's untrue. I actually had a look at it. I think, how many? It was an 8-legger.
Something like that.
And I think I missed out by 2.
There you go.
No.
And it was the first 2, probably.
I missed out on Rava anytime try scorer. And I missed out on the Broncos women.
Yes.
They got pipped by 2. But anyway, I've got ladies and gents, write this one down.
Pens and crayons ready.
Pens and crayons ready. I've got an 11-legger.
11 legs.
11 legs, and I reckon they're a massive chance. So, firstly, Saints over the Sharks.
Head to head.
Head to head. These are all head to head. West Tigers over the New Zealand Warriors. The Roosters over the Rabbits.
Yes.
Penrith over Newcastle.
Yes.
Head to head. Canberra over the Titans. Manly over the Dogs.
Yes.
Ravalava from St George. Anytime try scorer.
Right.
Brisbane over the Cowboys. Head to head. Turbo anytime try scorer. Tom Trebojevic anytime try scorer. Jason Saab from Manly anytime try scorer.
Is he up against Ockenball?
If he is, no, he's not. He's on the other business.
He'll get a double.
He's on maybe Reuben Carter then. Reuben Garrick. Herbie Farnworth anytime try scorer.
Right. So that's your 11 legs.
That's the 11 legs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So Saints, Tigers, Roosters, Penrith, Canberra, Manly, Rava anytime try scorer, Brisbane over Cowboys, Turbo to score, Jason Saab to score, Herbie Farnworth to score.
Right.
$256.
Smack of
for the
runes.
dollar.
Remember, the more you put on, the more you get back.
Exactly.
But gamble
right,
responsibly.
11 legs. Let's see how that goes next week.
There you go. The Milky Bars might be on you next week.
Possibly.
Mine's only a 3-legger.
Okay, who do you got?
I got Roosters head to head.
Yep.
Anytime try scorer Tyrell Sloan.
Yep.
It's been a couple of weeks since he scored.
Yep.
And the old faithful, anytime try scorer Xavier Coates.
Wow, 3-legger. What are we paying, mate?
That'll get you the Devils $6.66.
666.
Yes.
Wow.
So for 3 legs,
that's pretty good going.
That is pretty good going. I thought they were all pretty good there.
So Coates is playing. Who's Melbourne playing? I haven't taken them.
There you go. Who are Melbourne playing?
Yeah, let's go back.
We just reviewed it. You'd think we know. Melbourne are playing Parramatta.
Okay.
But he'll get one for sure. So.
Yep.
So that wraps us up. Thank you for joining us, Clayton, for
Absolute
another week.
pleasure, mate.
That's episode 8. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook or search for us on your favourite podcast player, Halftime Oranges, or to see our melons on the telly. We are on YouTube. Search Halftime Oranges. And don't forget to join our tipping comp. You're only a couple of weeks behind. Chance to win $100 Dan Murphy voucher.
Get on that 11-legger.
There's a couple of wood ducks that are running behind there that you could probably jump them in a couple of weeks anyway. Don't forget our best bets, 11-leggers or 3-leggers, but gamble responsibly. We are still looking for a sponsor, so any of those betting, anyone, we'll take anyone.
Neds,
4 and 20 pies.
Neds, anyone.
4 and 20 pies.
Blue bet, orange bet, green bet.
Yeah, rainbow bet.
Red bet, whatever you like.
Yeah, red tube, whatever. Jump on board. But as always, look short, play long.
Carry on regardless.